Hi there, it's Thursday the 23rd of April 2020. We're looking at some of the love stories in the Bible. We looked at the love story on Monday of the woman who was caught in adultery by the religious leaders and condemned by them. But Jesus forgave her, loved her, and gave her a fresh start in life. And then on Tuesday we looked at the man found in a tree by the name of Zacchaeus, who was hated by society, ostracized by them, marginalized by them, but accepted by Jesus, loved by Jesus, and given a fresh start in life. And then yesterday we looked at the woman who was treated like a dog. She was again treated badly by those in society, but this time because of her race. But Jesus accepted her, Jesus loved her, and Jesus healed her daughter and gave her a fresh start in life. And today we're looking at the man trapped by disease. The man trapped by disease. Luke chapter 5, verses 12 to 15, Jesus was in a town and a man came to him who had leprosy, knelt down before him and begged Jesus to help him, saying, "Lord, if you're willing, you can make me clean." Jesus said, "I am willing, be clean." And immediately the leprosy left him. And Jesus told him to go to show himself to the priest to prove he was healed and to take sacrifices once again and to be restored into society once again. The amazing love of Jesus for that man who must have been very unloved by those in society, who were very afraid of that leprosy, that contagious disease. The first recorded instance in the history of leprosy is about 1500 BC. One of the Egyptian papyrus records leprosy. Thereafter it's recorded throughout the Near East and the Far East into India and up through Europe. And even today, leprosy is still treated as an infectious disease. It's caused by a pathogen passed on most often person to person through droplets within a person's breath, through sneezing or coughing. Sound familiar? Just the same way, actually, that coronavirus is most often spread today, and so leprosy is spread in the same way. And leprosy was treated then as coronavirus is treated now, as something which necessitated social isolation. In fact, in the book of Leviticus and the laws that Moses was given to give to the people, that's how it is treated. Leviticus chapter 13, verse 45 and 46 says this: "The person with such an infectious disease must wear torn clothes, let his hair be unkempt, cover the lower part of his face and cry, 'Unclean, unclean,' I suppose to show to people that that person had leprosy. As long as he has the infection, he remains unclean. He must live alone. He must live outside the camp. Complete social isolation, social exclusion." In fact, it goes on to say that depending on which way the wind was blowing, nobody was to come within 150 feet of somebody who had leprosy. Terribly social isolation. Imagine how you would feel if you had leprosy. And then the Bible also says that leprosy sometimes was a judgment for sin. In Numbers chapter 12, Miriam was very against Moses, her brother, because Moses had taken a foreign wife and she wasn't happy about that. And God basically told Miriam to mind her own business. And Miriam ended up with leprosy as a judgment from God for her bad attitude and her condemnation of Moses. So people in Jesus' day, that man who came to Jesus, he was very unloved. He was very socially excluded. And that was because of two reasons. First of all, they considered him to have a contagious disease, which he had. And secondly, they considered him to be under the judgment of God because of his sin, which may or may not have been the case. Not all leprosy is a judgment of God. So that poor man suffered every day on his own, nobody going within 150 feet of him, socially isolated and excluded. But Jesus, his love was greater, and Jesus embraced the man, both literally and metaphorically. First of all, Jesus touched him. He touched him to say to the man, "No more social isolation for you." And secondly, he healed the man to say to the man, "No more God's judgment for you. You are forgiven. You are healed. You're restored once again. And as I said earlier, he told him to go to the priest to prove that he was healed, so that he could be accepted back into society once again. Isn't Jesus amazing? His love for you, his love for everyone in society who are socially excluded in any way. Jesus' love reaches out to you if you are socially excluded, if you're being isolated, if you're being marginalized. Jesus embraces you, he touches you, he heals you, he restores you once again. Now that's a love story.